Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Sony A7S III review. In this episode, we'll be looking at low light performance and comparing the picture profiles, the logs to the standard. Is one better than the other? We'll find out in this real world comparison. We'll also be testing night photography, and does the A7S III have dual gain ISO for stills?
Thanks for that voiceover, Elise. Gee, you're so good, aren't you, knowing what we're doing? Let's get to it. So the rationale behind our comparison is a little bit different from other ones that you'll find. We're trying to keep the auto exposure correct, so nothing flashing if possible, and just using shutter speed and f-stops to keep exposure correct throughout the ISO range. And I think that makes more sense. We've seen all the wow factor videos where they're showing how great the ISO performance is and how dark to bright it can go. We didn't want to do that here. We wanted you to see every bit of this footage to be correctly exposed, so you're just seeing the noise. So purely how much or how little noise there is at any given ISO range. I will admit this is quite tedious, so if you want to jump to the conclusion, I have put chapters down the bottom there. Just click ahead and you'll find out who the winner is. For the brothers and sisters out there who would like to pixel peep, let's continue. So as Gerald Undone pointed out in a video he just uploaded today, no picture profile is more or less noisy than the other. Some just have more crushed, noisy blacks than others, and if you lifted the shadows on those profiles, they would be more or less the same noisy as S-Log. So for this first comparison, we're looking at each picture profile at their base second ISO. In a moment, we're going to jump 4 stops up, which is timesing the base second ISO by 4. So if they're all clean at their base ISO and they're all equally as noisy as each other, then they're all equal then. Is that the case? Well, no, because what exposure values are each picture profile using to get to correct exposure? As you can see here, the non-log files are requiring more stops of light through shutter speed to achieve correct exposure, whereas the log files, they can achieve correct motion blur and still have stops to spare and still be at the same amount of stops from their base second ISO, which therefore makes them better at low light performance. I'm just going to walk in circles so you can get some ambience from the whole situation.
There's going to be people looking down from the buildings being like,
yeah. We'll go around a little
insane people.
We'll go around a little Mario Kart track that is kind of paved here. Yeah, so what was I saying before?
That you can adjust the ISO and set a limit so that you don't go under the ideal
yes.
ISO.
So for whatever picture profile you're working with, and now you know, thanks to Philip Bloom, where the dual gain kicks in on all these picture profiles. Oh, how's this
rank
ghost
face?
Story lighting going?
I don't like it.
That'll be interesting to see how that's exposed.
It's ugly.
So what we're going to do now is get some B-roll in the city, and we're going to use that second ISO on all these picture profiles. You can see which one you like the best. Hope this review is helpful for you. Let's get on with the filmings.
We hope you enjoy this city gimbal walk comparing picture profiles. There wasn't any wind in the city tonight, so we thought it would be a good chance to test out the internal microphones on the A7S III. Let us know in the comment section which picture profile you think performs the best. Slowly performing YouTube channel.
That's very rude for you to say. It's a bit fucked. Finally, some darkness. Wow, I can't even see back there, but you can see it perfectly on this. It's night vision goggles.
I'm an actual human person. You're telling me I'm pussy ass bitch. You're telling me this in front of everyone. He's touching all of us.
Can you go down this dark alley? Yeah, go down here for a sec. It's probably the only time that, yeah, the ISO's just raising here. Okay, stay here. This is really dark in here. The whole time, the ISO wasn't raising. It's a super dark alley. An auto ISO. There's no way I would ever usually film in this kind of stuff, this light. There's no point.
You're just lucky you had cancer and all those lucky that. Do you understand that the word
Sunday night.
On a long weekend. Why would you film anywhere else? It's moving a bit. I didn't even know he's there.
I saw him, but I knew he was going to get angry.
That's a great building, hey. Looks really Dark Knight-ish. At picture profile 1. Already above the base ISO. Yeah. Keep walking.
Carpet feels weird.
Oh, that's a picture. It looks very dark, hey.
Oh, it's like
What's that?
It's the smell of the casino. It's like liquor and cigarettes and sticky. It smells like sticky.
On the street.
I love them.
More of these leopards.
Yeah.
Are they black look things?
Yeah, maybe. They're not ruined and scratched up yet, too. Okay, dark alley test. Oh, that's not
So people
helpful.
can't sleep there. That sucks. It's dark enough. Get any blacker.
This is well and truly dark. Picture profile 1. Let's flip over to the Brandon Lee pro.
I glow in the dark because my skin's really white.
Yeah.
Can you see me? Can you see me? It's really nice. I glow in the dark because my skin's really white. Can you see me? Can you see me? I so.
Let me know if I'm walking into someone. Because I'm trying to get you.
Huh?
I'm trying to get you a full body shot.
And gives them nothing. And doesn't pay enough tax. And that is gambling.
I liked how that guy said, "What's going on here?"
When he looked at me, he was just very.
He's just trying to work it all
He was
out.
like, "You see her hair?"
He's just trying to work it all out.
Yeah, he was so shit-faced, he could barely walk straight. So then when he tried to do a 180 to like double take, he was like, "Oh, now I'm stuck walking this way."
Yeah.
He looked very upset.
This will be a good test of this gimbal too. See if we can cope with the weight.
Stabil. What's the stabil at?
Stabil levels.
For the final test of the night,
let's see if this dual gain is also a thing for stills. So this is what we come up with. This is an application called Fast Raw Viewer. It's like an 8-bit or something. It doesn't have much color depth, but it lets you view your raw files very fast and sort them out. Just a really basic program, but it doesn't do any favors for your photos. It doesn't do the files justice. Anyway, as you can see here, no dual gain for photos. Boo-hoo. It's just getting noisier and noisier. That's it. That's the peak. So now let's do a bit of pixel peeping in Luminar. So here we're at 4000 ISO. Okay, so just a really basic grade. This slider turns it into a JPEG basically, but you can adjust from there if you want. So plenty of resolution. Noise isn't bad there at all. These are just kind of quick, thrashy photos. Nothing too amazing here, but I do like a few of them. That's great. That's all the pixel peeping depth I need. Here we are at 16,000 ISO. For me personally, try and shoot under 10,000 ISO because this starts to get really muddy. But if you're just looking at it like that, it's quite okay. And if you wanted something a little bit more blown up, as you can see, it's so noisy that you can't really even tell if the shot's in focus anymore. Is it better than the A7 III? I'm not sure yet. Again, 1600 ISO, 3200 ISO. It's just too soft and noisy. Definitely no dual gain for photos, which is unfortunate. Too much detail lost there for me. 32,000. It wouldn't be too much of a struggle to keep a shot on like this under 32,000. I'm at f10 there. Probably didn't need to be. Yeah, again here. Colors still look great at this ISO though. So here just really pushing the ISO 25,600. So here we got the 85, 25,600, 1/1600th of a shutter speed. Really no need to use that kind of speed of shutter. And here just there's all noise in the bokeh. She still looks beautiful though. So here's something that you might normally take in these lighting conditions. 0.7 EV like we like to use. Plenty of detail. Before we go, better or worse? I'll just slap on the quick grade thing. Maybe the noise is better on the A7 III even without the dual gain, but you'd need to test the camera side by side in exact conditions to come to that conclusion, so I don't want to do that here. I hope you found this part of the review helpful. Stay tuned for part 3. Take it easy guys. Thanks for watching.